Ayurveda and has tremendous faith in the treatments that go along with this ancient form of medicine, which include Ayurvedic aromatherapy, Shizodhara, and chakra balancing. Sorry if I pronounced any of those wrong. Dr. Thanki currently works at Ayurveda.
So we're going to delve into a little bit of kind of a complex medicine for a second here, but we're going to bring it back to something very simple at the end. So really kind of a little bit about myself. I know Colvine, is that you? She explained kind of, you know, my background, but basically after graduating, I kind of went back to my roots, and I realized that Ayurvedic medicine was something that I had been missing to be able to put the whole body into a complete picture, and for me to be able to diagnose and understand imbalances. And so you'll see when I talk, I'm very passionate about Ayurveda. It's really what I specialize in, and it's something, you know, I do a lot of lecturing about, and it might seem a little over the top right now, but just take what you can from it, and we'll answer questions at the end, and I'll try and make it 20 minutes brief. Even though it's a 5,000-year-old science, it's like deep as the sea. So we're going to understand kind of what it feels like, and we can skip over a few things because we've kind of already explained, you know, this is all about why an old science is so relevant to our life. And with 2012 coming and our consciousness shift, this kind of fits right in with that. You'll understand a little bit about the principles of Ayurveda, treatment from an Ayurvedic perspective, the value of self-knowledge, the value of understanding and educating ourselves so that we can treat ourselves on a daily basis. And my job is a lot of education and a lot of kind of counseling on lifestyle. That's really the basic fundamental principle of Ayurveda. And you'll get to experience a little bit of Ayurveda as well. So what is Ayurveda? You're probably like, what is this word? Well, Ayurveda is actually a Sanskrit word, and it means the science of life. So it's really about understanding, and you split the word up as it's written there, it's really about understanding how to live in tune with nature. So it's, even though it comes from India, it's a very universal medicine in the sense that we use nature, we use herbs, we use lifestyle to really understand, this is going by itself, to understand how to live in tune with the natural elements that exist in nature. And it's important to understand twofold. One is it helps disease come back to balance and health to come from disease. And the second is it helps us to just stay healthy, so the healthy remain healthy. So prevention, a lot of exactly what everybody's been talking about. So can you guys read this at all? Sure. You can? Okay. Does everybody have like a little piece of paper or a pen they can just jot down a couple things? Is that too hard? Yes or no? And I want to make this interactive, so you guys kind of yell out at me and say, yes, no?
Yes. Yes?
Yes?
No.
Okay. So we're going to do a little quiz here first. And what you're going to do is you're going to write first the numbers 1 to 10. So do that for me, just down in a line, 1 to 10. There's 3 letters. V, P, and K are what you're going to use next to each of those numbers, okay? You're going to start by just reading body frame, and you're going to read across. If you feel like you fit in the first column, it's going to be a V. If you feel like you fit in the second, it's a P, and third, it's a K. Everybody got that? Anybody need me to just read them out loud? Okay, so we'll go through them together. Do you feel like you fit into the body type, body frame, thin, lanky, slender, or medium, symmetric, or more of a large, round, stocky build, broader frame? So next to number 1, you're going to write V, P, or K, and you can do like a slash if you feel like you're right in the middle. Number 2, weight. Do you feel like you're on a low weight, medium, or overweight? Number 3, dry, rough, or thin. So do you have a tendency for your skin to be more dry, rough, and thin, more reddish and prone to irritation, or thick, moist, and very smooth, like oily? Sleep. Do you have lighter sleep with the tendency to awaken easily? Do you have moderate sound sleep, needing less than 8 hours to feel rested? You're up and ready to go. Or do you need deep, prolonged sleep to really feel rejuvenated the next morning? Number 3 relates to appetite. So do you have an irregular appetite? You're just, you skip meals, doesn't matter, you don't even realize. Or are you more like in the P category, you got a strong appetite, you got to have your 3 meals. If you don't, you're crabby, you're irritated, it's over. Or number 3, is it slow and, you're pretty steady with meals. In terms of digestion, do you tend towards forming gas, either burping or passing gas? Do things move through quickly? Do you have more burning in your stools or burning heartburn-wise, things moving upward? Or does it take long and, you've got some mucus and the bowels kind of move a little slower? Do you tend towards liking salty, sweet, and sour foods? Do you enjoy sweet or bitter? Or more of spicy foods? Pungent means spicy. 8, constipation. You tend towards constipation, or more loose diarrhea type stools, or thick, oily. Emotions, you tend towards, basically this is when you get stressed out. You tend towards anxiety, fear, uncertainty. You tend towards anger, hate, jealousy, irritated, frustrated, can't stand it. Or more calm, greedy attachment. Calm meaning you just kind of go with the flow when something overwhelms you. And then temperament. You tend to be more lively, enthusiastic, you love change, you can't stick in one place. Or are you more purposeful and intense and just super motivated? Or kapha we have here, easygoing, accepting, love to support others, pretty much take care of everybody else and then yourself. You should tally up how many V's you had, how many P's, and how many K. So raise your hand if you had the most V's. So if you look around, there's about 4, 5 people. How about P's? Again, 5 people. And K's? 2 people. Okay. So that's going to give you a sense right there that we are all individual. Even though we're placing people into 3 different categories here, we're all individual. And we need each other in the world. And so we all are born with different constitutions, different elements in the body, and that's what we're going to talk about in a sec here. So you can kind of put your quiz to the side just for the time being, and then we come back to tips for each of them. You can look back and remember that, okay, you were V, P, or K. Okay? And I hate to put people in a box, so don't take yourself and be like, oh, I'm in this box now, that's the way I am. We need all 3 people in the world, because you'll see that the Vatas have more artistic capabilities, the Pittas more motivated, more leadership, and the Kaphas a lot of love and compassion and support. So don't think of yourself and put yourself in a box, but understand that that's understanding the way you act and behave. And so when symptoms come about and disease comes about, it's not only about balancing these 3 and understanding your constitution. It's actually about understanding a snapshot picture through tongue and pulse diagnosis as to what's going on right now. So just because you might be a Vata doesn't mean you're only going to tend towards Vata things. It's all dependent on what you take in, the types of things that you do on a daily basis, your habits, and your lifestyle. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. So we're going to move on. I'm actually going to skip that. But the Ayurvedic definition of health, and we're going to talk about the doshas in a second and understand them. But that's what you were just filling out. Vata, Pitta, Kapha are 3 different energies, 3 different material substances that reside in the body. Those doshas should be in balance. Our appetite should be good. We should have an appetite for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Our tissues, they should be functioning normally. Our body weight should be eliminated daily. And our mind, our body, our senses, we should be in bliss pretty much most of the time. It says here 24 hours a day. This is written, this is translated from the text 5,000 years ago. So this is considered a healthy person. Where in modern medicine, we're always talking about absence of disease, absence of disease. Well, we have to also remain healthy, correct? We don't just go to the doctor when we're feeling ill. So that's really where Ayurveda fits in and naturopathic medicine fits in, is being able to prevent those symptoms from occurring and then those set of symptoms moving into a disease process. So I talked about the 3 fundamental energies, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, all 3 Sanskrit words, which basically help us understand what elements reside in the body. So let's do something for fun here for a second. The ancients, they studied nature. they observed nature. And they observed nature outside of us. And they said, okay, well, there's 5 elements that exist in the body. Can anybody explain to me? 3 of them are up here, but can anybody say and just yell out, what are the 5 elements out there in nature?
Water.
Okay, so we're missing water and wood is existent in Chinese medicine. Ayurveda, for some reason, they left wood out because I think earth and water also depict the wood element. But space. Space is the other one. So it's air, space, fire, earth, and water. So they understood nature. They watched the sunrise. They watched the sunset. They felt the earth with their bare feet. They really began to understand the cycles of nature and what was happening. And then it dawned upon them that in nature, air is in excess. What happens? What happens when we have a lot of air in the universe? What happens? What kind of natural disasters occur? Hurricanes, tornadoes, things that the wind basically accumulates, the air accumulates, and these kind of things happen. How about fire? Forest fires, right? Volcanoes erupting. That's all excess heat in the body. It's the nature's way of naturally cleansing itself. And how about earth or water? Tsunami that just happened, the floods, right? Earthquakes. These are all basically the accumulation of elements that then spills over and causes some sort of natural disaster. So that's kind of how we can understand the doshas out in nature. But the ancients understood that those same elements exist within us, just in different proportions. So some of us may be born with more air elements, some may be born with more fire elements, some with more earth. That just allows us to understand our core constitution, what we came into life kind of having. Now, they went from these 5 elements to the 3 doshas. So you may be lost and you're like, wait, what happened to the elements? Those 3 doshas are a combination of all 5 elements. So vata is a combination of air and space, pitta is fire and water, and kapha is earth and water. But to make it really simple on you guys, just understand the 3. Vata is air. If there's one word you can put with vata, put air. One word with pitta, put fire. And one word with kapha, put earth. Does that make sense to everybody right here? Okay. So the important thing to understand is that these 3 doshas have physiologic function in the body. We have to have all 3 doshas to function on a daily basis. So what is vata responsible for? Vata is responsible for all movement in the body. And hence it's actually responsible for almost 80% of all diseases out there. So we always have to keep vata in balance. What does vata look like in balance? Kind of when you looked at your sheet, the sheet I had you fill out from the PowerPoint. In balance, these people have more air and ether. They just are more predisposed to having more air and ether at the time of birth. So they're more creative, and you might start to kind of relate with some of these. They're very creative, very excitable, very slender, artistic, flexible. So if you're in a yoga class and you see the next person next to you being totally flipped over and twisted, right, like a pretzel, they most likely have a vata constitution. Very talkative. I have a sister who is completely on a vata spike, and she can talk your ear off. And very spontaneous. They have no routine. They do not like routine. They just kind of go from here to there. Very much dreamers, kind of here one minute, there the next. So what are those all depict the air element, right? Air moves, wind moves. So these people love to move. Out of balance, though, what happens when vata is not moving in a constant downward flow or downward direction? Things like constipation, things like insomnia, anxiety, fatigue, these kind of things begin to set in. So vata basically is that air element. As air accumulates in the body, these kind of things set in. So did the vatas who raised their hand, can you relate with this? I see somebody nodding in the back here. Yeah. And how about pitta? Pitta is basically your fire element. Fire and a mixture of water. Governs all transformation in the body. We have to have fire element for things to digest, things to transform. Even from just watching a scary movie. Anybody realize the next day they're kind of still digesting that scary movie or they've had bad dreams? It's all about digesting the experiences that come in. It's not only about digesting our food. And this screen is irritating my pitta right now. Okay, so in balance, These people have a lot, they're kind of your A-type personalities, a lot of physical energy, very concentrated, very timely, everything's organized, color-coded, ambitious, strong digestion, very intelligent, and these are your kind of your athletes, your leaders, okay, in the community. Out of balance is what we care about mostly. And out of balance, we understand that fire element basically shows up in a lot of our inflammatory diseases, jealousy, anger, irritation, you kind of just lose it at the most minute point.